I just wanted to give one more demonstration to make sure that everybody's going to draw these CADs so that they are symmetrical and so that you can also give them a proper fill color as well. You really want to look at this dress and try to figure out what are the different pattern pieces if you were going to cut this out and sew it up. Like maybe you could cut fabric out of one side, that could be one color, and the other side could be another color. So you really want to draw it accordingly. Maybe there's a seam here at the waist, so the skirt could be a third color. So really think about that when you draw it. It's also going to be really important that your CAD is symmetrical. So when you draw the first one, I highly recommend flipping it, copy, pasty, and then transform and reflect it. So I'm going to hit the letter P for the pen tool. Another thing to keep in mind is go easy on those anchor points. Don't use more than you need to. You really only need to use it every time you change directions. Here I'm at the corner. I'm just going to click one time because I don't need handlebars. Now it can be really hard to trace something. I'm going to click and drag for a curve. Click and drag for a curve. It can be really hard to trace something when you have a fill color. So I'm going to make my fill none, and I'm going to change my stroke color to something that's really easy to see. I'm going to change it to like a bright pink. Okay. And I'm going to go in and click and drag. Maybe I'll click one time, get rid of one handlebar. And then I'm just going to go, maybe not. Maybe I'll go down low, click and drag, and then click once here. I'm going to click and, edit, undo. Edit that, Command Z. Click and drag. I'm going to come up here to the, Command Z. To the top. And I'm going to click and drag. And I don't know if you noticed there was a little circle icon under my pen tool. That just told me that it completed the shape. I'm going to hit the letter Z to zoom in. Okay, I can see I'm off a little bit here. I'm going to hit the white arrow tool, which is keyboard shortcut, the letter A, and then I could pull out this handlebar and kind of clean it up. This looks pretty good. Awesome. Since I am on the A, I'm just going to select some of these anchor points. I think that's it. So by selecting the anchor point, it also selects both segments that come out of it. So, so watch what happens. I'm going to say Command C to copy. I'll say Command F to paste it right in front, and then I can kind of move this line out, and then I can use that for my stitch line if I like. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a dash line here, and I can change my caps to be curved if I like. So it looks like this didn't really work very well. It's a little bit off right here, so I can kind of just reshape that the way I like. There we go. Clean it up with that white arrow. Okay, that looks good. Instead of redrawing this, maybe I just hit that one little anchor point with the white arrow, and I know both segments will be selected. Command C, Command F, and just kind of scoot this guy out as well. I'm going to hit the letter I for the eyedropper and go catch that stitch I made, the stitch line. Okay, I'm going to move this little guy to come down a little bit, I think. Yeah. Okay, zooming out. Okay, and then finally I want to add my drape lines. So I have my art brush ready to go. So I'm going to hit the letter P. I'm going to click one time. I'm going to click and drag down here. I'll just leave it as stitch line right now, and I'll change it in a minute. P. I'm going to start with the thick point. I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to kind of, maybe I'll go right here, finish that off. Ooh, that's messy. I'll hit the white arrow, bring in this handle, and click and drag this point to kind of finish right there. P. Start at the thick point, come up here, click and drag, click and drag, click. Zoom in. Letter A. Bring in this handle. Maybe bring the point like that. Spacebar to pan. P. Start the thick point. Click and drag. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to hit the letter V, and I'm going to select all my little drape lines, and I'm going to change them so that they do not have that dash line. We don't need that. Okay, and then I'm going to choose my art brush right here. So this art brush, I'm going to double click. The method right now says none. I'm going to change it to tints because then it'll change it to whatever color I have. If it's not changed to tints, it'll always just be black because that's the original brush was drawn black. So anyways, I'll say okay, apply to strokes. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to give my fabric a fill. I want to see if it works. So I'm selecting just the fabric. I don't want to give a fill to my stroke lines or to my drape lines. I don't want to give a fill to my stitching. I only want to give a fill to the outline of the fabric. So all right, now it has none. I can double click and I'm going to give it any color. Okay. So to get this guy to be symmetrical, I'm going to go ahead and select all of it. Oopsies, Command Z. I'm going to pan with the space bar. And you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to group it. Command G to group it. Now I'm going to copy and paste it, or I can just go up to Object, Transform, Reflect, Vertical, and Copy. Now, I want to move it. See, it's aligned perfectly. When I move it over, I don't want to accidentally make it go higher. Command Z. So to move it over, I'm going to move it, but then I'm going to push Shift. And Shift will make sure it stays where it's supposed to. And I'll put it right there. Now, to show that these are two separate pattern pieces, I'm just going to change one of the colors to be a different color. There we go. Okay. And then I would draw the belt and the skirt and all of that good stuff. I'm trying to think what else. So anyways, that is symmetrical. Why don't I try to draw the skirt and make the skirt symmetrical? That's a little bit different since it's going to be the same pattern piece. We don't want two separate pattern pieces for the skirt. We want one. So how do we do that? I'm going to hit the letter P. I'm going to click one time. Let's see. Maybe I'll come down here, click and drag. Click and drag. I'm going to hit Command Z, Command Z. I'm going to click and drag here. I think having that extra point, it's not making it as smooth as I want. And now I think my point's in the wrong spot. P, click, click and drag. You're going to get lots of good practice with that pen tool. I don't want this handlebar. I just kind of want it to be a sharp turn. So I'm going to click the anchor point, make that handlebar go away. I'm going to click and drag, click and drag. And you know, I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to hit the letter V. I'm going to make any changes now that I want. Hit the letter A. Let's see here. Where is my handlebar? There it is. Maybe I will pull out a bit of a curve at the top. So I'm going to hold down the pen tool. I'm going to grab this anchor point tool, and I'm going to click and drag so like a little handlebar comes out from the top. Hit the letter A, and kind of a little bit more control with it. What's going on here? Do I want to change that? Perhaps. Maybe move this down. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I have this line. So I'm going to select it, and I'm going to transform it as well. So Object, Transform, Reflect. And let's do vertical. There we go, and copy. Okay, again, I want to move it to the other side. Now this is really important not to dip it a little. Oh no, don't want to do that. So hold Shift so it stays in the right spot. And then once you place it, let go of your mouse and then let go of Shift. Now, we want to connect these two shapes. So I'm going to hit the pen tool, P, and then make sure you see that little slash line. That will pick up a line that you've started drawing and it'll continue it. So I'm going to click there. This I'll click and drag in the middle, and then I'm just going to click one time to connect it. There we go. And then up here, I'll click and might as well just connect the top, right? Okay, cool. There you are. So now it's going to be symmetrical. So I just wanted to demo that. Now all you have to do is just draw your belt, and it'll probably be easier if you didn't see these things. So a little trick you could do is open up your layers. I went to the window menu, open up layers, and again, one layer, right? You can click this little arrow, and this green stuff, you can click the eyeball so you don't see it. Maybe lock it too so you don't accidentally move it. It's not a bad idea. Now you can click the pen tool. You can click. Maybe just to make sure it's symmetrical, why not only draw that much? And then you could say Command C, Command F, Object, Transform, Reflect. Okay, I already copied it, so now let's move it over to where you want. Hit P. Okay, there's my slash line. I'm going to go to the middle. I'm going to hold down Shift, and then I just click one time. There's my slash line. Click. Come to the middle. Click and drag. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hit the letter V to deselect. Okay, I'm going to show these little eyeballs again. I'm going to unlock them. Okay, we're getting somewhere, I guess. And then I do recommend, because this is a learning environment, change the color of all of these so that I know that they are all separate shapes. Just good to do just in case, you know, you ever wanted to like design something kind of crazy. Okay, So now we have the back. This is how I recommend using the back. We've talked a little bit about the Pathfinder tool. You know, I do realize you could just get the pen tool and draw a triangle and just layer it so it's behind. But I recommend grab your shirt, both of them, and I'm going to say command. Well, you know what? I don't want all the stitches, so I'm going to switch to the white arrow. I'm going to click it. See how I just only have that shape? I don't have the stitches. I'm going to hold shift and grab the dark green one. I'm going to say Command C to copy them, okay? Then I'm going to hide them and lock them just so they're like out of my way. I'm going to say Command F so it pastes them on top. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm just trying to draw the back pattern piece. And I know when you guys are looking at it, you're probably like, oh yeah, it's just like this gray triangle. But it's really not. It's, you know, it's a whole pattern piece on the back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select these two front ones, and I'm going to use the Pathfinder, so Window, P for Pathfinder, and I'm going to unite them. So now it's only one shape, right? It can't be a light green and dark green because it's only one shape. And then instead of having it be a V-neck, I'm going to take the white arrow, I'm going to bring it up here so that it can be, you know, the back neckline. There we go. And I'm going to do my best to clean that up. Okay, cool. So then now I'm going to change this to a gray color. And I'm going to bring back those other shapes. And he's on top, so I'm going to click and drag and bring him below. So there you go. So what I like about this, I know I should also draw my stitches in that seam line. But just to show you guys, I mean, you guys, I think you could figure out how to do that, hopefully. But what I like about this is that I like the way this cat is drawn so that if for some reason I need the back really quick, I can just like copy and paste it real quick, and I could grab that back and say Command X, Command F, and like voila, I have the back view drawn and like ready to go. Maybe Command X, Command F. So just drawing a nice back, and it wasn't that hard for me to draw. Really, all I did was take the front and I merged it together, or I united it with the Pathfinder tool. And then I just changed the neckline. Like if anything, I feel like that was just as much work than if I use the pen tool to draw it. I don't know. Something to think about. Just wanted to share that trick with you. But anyways, as you draw all these CADs, it's very important that they are symmetrical. So take your time and use the copy and paste transform tool to ensure that they're symmetrical. As always, if you guys have questions, please reach out. I'm here to help.